Attorney General Jeff Sessions is ready to overturn an Obama-era policy that helped pave the way to legalize marijuana in the states.
Let's bring in CBS News Justice and Homeland Security correspondent Jeff Pegues to start us off. Jeff, what does this mean for states like California, which just legalized recreational marijuana?
Well, that's a good question, and frankly, DOJ senior officials that we spoke with really couldn't clarify that. So there's still a lot of questions about this, but let me just set up what has happened now. The Department of Justice has just issued a one-page memo which essentially rescinds Obama-era legal guidance on the enforcement of marijuana laws, federal marijuana laws. And so what this new legal guidance does, and again, it's just one page, so there aren't a lot of details there, but what it does, according to senior DOJ officials, is gives prosecutors in districts more discretion in enforcing federal marijuana laws. Now, the question is, will that lead to more prosecutions in states that have legalized marijuana use? Well, the senior DOJ officials couldn't really answer that question. They really don't know what this will mean, but one senior DOJ official did tell us that this is a return to the rule of law. So there is still a lot of uncertainty, and this type of memo, this type of change in policy will certainly lead to more questions in these states where marijuana use has been legalized.
Yeah, and that's sort of the question that I have, Jeff, is why is the Attorney General doing this? I know he says it's a return to the rule of law, but why is he making this a priority? And how aggressive will law enforcement officials be in going after people who break these laws?
Well, we don't know how aggressive they will be. Again, they have said that they don't know whether this will lead to more prosecutions, but it's certainly sending a message. And we know that the Attorney General has said early on that he is against the legalization of marijuana. And so this is certainly sending a message to these states. The question is, what type of message does that send legally if you're opening up a new shop where you sell marijuana? What does this mean for you? And so these are some of the questions that will have to be hashed out over the coming days as people and really lawyers digest this new policy change at the Department of Justice.
So we have no idea if this is an attempt to stop the progression of these laws from state to state to state, or maybe reverse them, I don't know, in states like California that went from allowing medicinal marijuana to now recreational marijuana.
Well, that's another good question. We know that people in these states where marijuana has been legalized, they're not happy with this new DOJ stance. We know that marijuana use has been legalized in 8 states and the District of Columbia, and so this again increases that uncertainty. And as I said, we didn't get a lot of details from the Department of Justice and the senior officials who briefed us on this. They were peppered with questions about the ramifications of what this means for those states that have seemingly invested heavily in the sale of marijuana. It is funding education in some states, it is funding law enforcement in some states, and so does this new policy change at DOJ throw all of that now into turmoil? We'll just have to see.
Jeff Pegues with the reporting for us. Jeff, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.